I made a video a while back regarding my thoughts on open carry in the United States. If you don't know what that is, it's sort of the movement, the concepts, whatever you want to call it, of being able to legally carry a weapon around that's loaded, a firearm. Now, of course, America, this is specifically referring to the United States, is a country that has a very, very, very deeply entrenched gun culture. That's without question. But I honestly find this alien concept to try and grasp. And the more I see of these people, the more I just feel despair, outrage, but also despair. I mean, really, I honestly believe that what America is dealing with the open carry crowd is seriously mentally unstable people. Because if you feel that you need to carry a loaded weapon around, then basically you must be living in a world of utter paranoia. If you feel the need to prove something by carrying a loaded weapon around public areas, then you must be living in a world of complete paranoia. You know, if it was the case that they carried it around and they didn't bother anyone, that would be one thing. But the thing that really pisses me off about these people is they're such vile bullies. They whinge about their gun rights, but they're basically disgusting bullies. And I don't apologise for the sharp language, because what we're talking about here is literally life and death. I mean, it's got to a stage now in the United States, from my perspective, whereby it's basically out of control, because there's absolutely no way to ascertain who is a good guy with a gun, i.e. a responsible gun owner, and who is another Elliot Rodger, or Adam Lanza, or any one of the numerous other spree killers, who in many cases legally purchase firearms. I've just seen an amusing comment. One gun nut was bitching about if we're not careful we're going to end up like Britain. You should count it as a blessing if you end up like Britain, because in this country we don't have gun massacres every week. Of course, maybe that makes no difference to you, because the cult of gun is more important to you than your fellow citizens' lives. And that just, I sort of have two reactions to this. Number one is utter astonishment that people like this exist, but also every time I see these freaks, I get more and more respect for the gun control lobby and the crucial work that they do. They often face harassment, they often face, and I'm going to pass on some links in this video. Now, I don't give a shit if open carry thugs watch this. I have no respect for you. You can insult me, you can call me names, I couldn't care less. The way I see it, you're like typical bullies. You're nothing. You're hiding behind your weapon, and it doesn't make you a big man, because anyone could kill someone with a firearm. A child could. So it doesn't prove anything about your manhood. The fact that you need to hide behind it does say something about your character. It says something about the utter weakness that is at the very core of your being. And these scumbags don't, you know, they don't rise above threatening women as well. I've seen it. I've seen it online. I've seen it in gun control groups. The sort of disgusting, misogynistic sort of comments they come out with. And I've just watched a video where basically one of these open carry people is following around a young guy with a camera, and the young guy points out that the open carry person has a loaded weapon. And of course they're calling him a coward and so on, but what the hell is the guy supposed to think? You're a gun nut. You have an agenda. How's he supposed to know you're not going to blow his head off? So it's the sort of I'm sort of addressing two people in this video. I'm addressing a wider audience, and yeah, if they watch it directly, good, whatever. Thumb me down as much as I want. I don't give a shit about the thumb ratings. That doesn't matter to me. The main thing here is the message. And I just want to express solidarity with America's gun control groups, because the work they do is absolutely, it's inspiring, because they do take a lot of personal risks, but it's also crucial, because America's, I think Hillary Clinton was right, it's out of control. And the problem is, a lot of these groups are obviously affiliated with hate groups. I'm not saying they all are. I'm not saying all open carry people are affiliated with hate groups. I do believe all open carry people are delusional and definitely unstable. Because, just to make a disclaimer here, I'm not against guns per se. I'm not against responsible gun owners, and I always make that point in these videos. I respect the fact guns are part of American culture. I'm not calling for all guns to be banned. I'm calling for common sense gun control, but that falls on deaf ears with these people, because they're so deeply brainwashed by their own cult. I mean, they talk about the Obama administration being a dictatorship. They whinge and whine about the gun control lobby and trying to stop them and so on, but just look at their behaviour. They're the ones going around terrorising those who don't agree with them. They're the ones violently threatening others. And I do think it's out of control. As far as I'm concerned, their umbrella organisation, the National Rifle Association, as far as I'm concerned, it's a terrorist organisation. And it's the best known of the gun cult organisations, but it's certainly not the only one. And it's probably not the most extreme, although it is the biggest. Now, if that sounds like extreme sort of rhetoric, I don't really care, because I'm looking at this. You might say, oh, what's this Brit doing talking about this fucking... I'm doing it because I care about innocent Americans losing their lives. I'm not saying it as an anti-American thing. If anything, it's a pro-American thing. Because I am so depressed seeing massacre after massacre, week after week, seemingly, and it never changes. This mentality never ever changes, and the gun cult is so callous that in the days after 6 young people are gunned down, they have the audacity to actually say their gun rights trump young American lives. That is just, it's just, I can't even begin to register that sort of thinking. And I do believe it's basically a cult. It's a hysterical cult. The irony is they talk about dictatorship, but actually they're similar to, you know, if you look in China, the Red Guards in the communist era, in the Cultural Revolution era, that was mass hysteria, and it was based on a hysterical reaction to Mao's personality cult against the establishment, which was the ruling Communist Party. People don't realise that. Now, obviously, a lot of the circumstances are different, but the reason I'm making that sort of comparison is because I honestly believe these people are deeply unstable. I believe, I'm not saying they're all going to shoot up somewhere, but that is what makes it so dangerous. You just don't know. I mean, what on earth is to stop law-abiding Americans? Well, that's the sinister thing. In many cases, this is legal, but that just demonstrates how problematic this situation is. I'm going to quote some examples of why this is so out of control. Here's one. A Florida 6-year-old kills a grandfather with an AK-47 left unattended by boy's uncle at family picnic. I'll put a link to this. The good guy with a gun claims he wasn't responsible. Now, he didn't personally do the killing, but this guy had been drinking alcohol, smoking pot, and snorting cocaine. After his nephew accidentally killed his father, he claimed it wasn't his responsibility. That is the sort of mentality that we're dealing with here. I mean, the way I see it is, if you're a responsible gun owner, why the hell would you want to carry your weapon around? It makes no sense to me. And I've no problem with responsible gun owners that's, that's part of American culture. They're not breaking the law, whatever. But as for the open carry crowd, I have no sympathy with them. And their antics disgust me. And, they think they're big men. Another video I came across, they were harassing a veteran. They had the actual audacity to follow this guy around, call him all the names under the sun, whilst they were the people hiding behind the weapon. And that's the point about the open carry crowd. They're cards. If you're open carry, as far as I'm concerned, you're a card. Because you're nothing without your gun. You rely on your gun. And that makes you a card. If you were a real man, you wouldn't be hiding behind a weapon, would you? So to me that just demonstrates what sort of people America's dealing with right now. And it really is out of control. I mean, I honestly think responsible gun owners need to be very concerned about this. Because it is utterly out of control. So all I can say is, I've said what I need to say now, but if you are an advocate of open carry, whatever you say, frankly, makes no difference to me, because I don't believe that you are mentally stable. I'm not saying that to try and get attention or as a slur. It's my genuine belief. I honestly think anyone who rationally, well, irrationally, tries to argue that is justified cannot be mentally stable. I believe that. I'm not talking about people who live in rough neighbourhoods and they're terrorised by gangs and they're using a weapon to defend themselves. I'm talking about delusional people who just walk around with loaded firearms and basically terrorise the community. I mean, these militias are just, they're out of control. And like I say, as for me being a foreigner, two things about that. Firstly, I'm deeply grateful I live in a country that does not have a gun cult. Thank goodness. Every day I'm grateful for that. Secondly, I'm not anti-American. I think the United States is a great country, but I think this gun cult is destroying America. And I think it just makes my respect for the gun control advocate groups all the more. I am disappointed in the Obama administration that hasn't been a lot tougher on this issue. I mean, of course they're going to call Obama a dictator, but they've been calling him that for 5 years and he still hasn't, his administration still hasn't really cracked down on this the way it should have, in my opinion. I mean, this is a pandemic, it's out of control. And, it's only a matter of time before there's going to be another Santa Barbara style massacre. It's just inevitable. I don't have enough time in this video to raise all the points I want to about gun control and gun violence. That's not my intention of this video. I'm specifically addressing the open carry situation, and that seems to be a big issue right now. I'm going to put links to the things I've been talking about, and I'll leave the comment section open, but I'm not going to get through to the open carry people. They sure as hell aren't going to get me to see their logic, because I don't think they have a logic. I think they're driven by, I believe they're driven by intense paranoia, and I think these are extremely unstable people and potentially very, very dangerous. So, as well as being vile bullies and cards, Joel the plumber, incidentally, has associated himself with them. He's quoted as saying guns are mostly for hunting down politicians. Now, to say that in a country that has had a history of political assassinations is tasteless, even if he doesn't mean it, even if it's just a bad joke. It shows the sort of mentality that these people have. So I'll put a few links to the things I'm talking about, and thank God I live in a country that doesn't have a gun cult. And I just hope America can change in the near future, because this thing is out of control. If you've been affected by gun violence, if you've been intimidated by these people, please stay strong. I don't think it's a dire situation. I think this can I think more and more Americans will wake up and realize just how insane these people are. But America needs to reclaim itself from these bullies that are basically hijacking American freedom for their own cult. And they're selfish, and they're bullies, and they are out of control. So yeah, that's a few of my thoughts. Thank you.